The shipping container's now been insulated and it's made a tremendous difference. Here's how we did it. At the beginning of the project, I stretched fence wire across the top of the container. We hung an assortment of insulation off this. I used blankets, duvets, bubble wrap and rugs. I started by framing up the window. I made a frame and I attached it to the wall using rivets and some right angle brackets. I used some simple cheap plates from the hardware store to join the framing connections. Then I lined the frame with sarking. I stapled builder's string into the framework to hold all the insulation in place. I'm going to put in a better quality insulation than I did in the kitchen. I'm using polyester bats because they're easier to handle and the insulation has a rating of 3.5 R. Then I finished with a sheet of 12mm ply. The insulation's quite thick. I can put a half sheet up on my own, but I get help with a full sheet. I used 12mm ply because this was the first size of plywood that didn't bow under the pressure of the insulation bats. So here we are with the sheeting up. At the moment I've only insulated the side of the container that catches the morning sun. The other side stays fairly cool with the shade cloths. All we've got to do now is to decorate. Insulating the hot side went so well I decided I'd carry on and finish the rest of the container. I put in an extra electrical cable. This runs directly from the generator to the inside of the main living container. I've tidied up the internet board. The internet board has two switches that control power outlets to 12-volt sockets. It holds the modem, which has a cable going to the external antenna. The switches let me turn power on and off to the modem and to charge phones really easily. So now I have a double main socket for computers or television, and I've put in a discrete aerial lead. I've put back the switches and I've remounted the modem. This wall section's in 3 pieces so I can service any of the electrics or cables. I'm recycling some oak flagpoles to hold some decorative material. I need a couple of supports for the flagpoles, so I got some of the wood that came down in the tornado. I cleaned it up with the penknife and the drop saw. So here's one of the supports installed. Not bad for recycling if I say so myself. This video is covered in full detail in part 2 of the ebook How to Build an Off-Grid Shipping Container House. Now it's complete, we've put up a little bit of decoration, so I thought you'd like a quick look around. I designed a space behind the avatar picture to install a stained glass window that Sarah made at classes. I'm looking forward to installing this later. This aspect of the project was made much harder because living in the space and then trying to insulate it really complicated it. If I had the luxury of time, I'd prefer to have put the insulation up first. When I was thinking about building this, I liked the idea of having a whole wall of glass. The heat from the windows put pay to that idea. I'm happy with less windows and a more stable temperature. It's taken about 2 years to get the insulation up, but that's because other things were more important. The Australian summer sun gets so hot we had to hang a shade cloth over the window to cut down on the heat. Early in the project we liked the idea of being able to see the corrugations of the steel, but this has given way to wanting something a bit more comfortable. It's been very nice to bring some of our possessions out of retirement and make the place a bit more homely. I'm sure in time we'll modify the plywood panels, but not just yet. Now when we put the fire on, 20 minutes later we're off and opening the window. There's a pair of blue curtains that hang from the ceiling near the small entrance door. With them open you get a breeze through the container. If you close them, it creates a small office space. It also creates a hallway to prevent the heat escaping from the main room. This has actually been quite successful. So here's the overview from the end of the container. With the walls complete, I put down some underlay and some carpet just to finish off the insulating. We rearranged the furniture just to see how it looks, and I think it's awesome. Please press the like button because it helps the channel. And subscribe now to follow more of our adventure. You can see the ebooks in more detail at buildshippingcontainerhouse.com, where you can purchase your own copy. Thanks for watching. For information on the ebook, go to buildshippingcontainerhouse.com. To follow our progress, subscribe on YouTube, or you can follow us on containerhouse.wordpress.com.